The European Union's foreign policy chief says the bloc is divided on whether to resume a naval mission to stop arms smuggling to Libya. Italy and Austria have raised concerns that the ships could encourage migrants to attempt the voyage across the Mediterranean. Now, EU foreign ministers are meeting in Brussels today to discuss the issue. Their talks come a day after UN officials said attempts to stop the fighting in Libya and an arms embargo to the country were failing. Europe's inability to provide effective leadership in ending the Libya conflict was a key topic at the Munich Security Conference that wrapped up on Sunday.
Libya is still awash with arms, and fighting is still raging, despite a previous agreement reached in Germany last month. A top UN official at the Munich Security Conference said the truce had been violated 150 times since then, and she said efforts to cut the flow of weapons had been equally unsuccessful.
The arms embargo has become a joke, and so we all really need to step up here, and it is complicated because there are violations that are, happening on land, sea, and air, and that all needs to be monitored.
In Libya, fighters loyal to the internationally recognized government control only a small area around the capital, Tripoli. Most of the rest of the country is in the hands of the rebels. A month after Germany hosted the Libya conference in Berlin, its participants gathered round the table again this weekend in Munich. 13 nations, including the United States, Russia and Turkey. Germany's foreign minister condemned the fact that some of these states, as well as others not present, continue to supply weapons to the North African country.
It is important that we create transparency and ensure that those who intend to continue breaking this weapons embargo must expect to be identified.
But Europe's leaders are not speaking with one voice. Different EU governments even back opposing sides in the conflict. That lack of common purpose was another of the conference's focal points.
All right, let's get more now. We go to our correspondent, Terry Schultz. She's in Brussels following that story for us. In fact, Terry, in Brussels today, UN foreign ministers are meeting. What's on the agenda?
Carl, EU foreign ministers have decided that the most constructive thing they can do at the moment is to offer to monitor the arms embargo that is not really being observed by any parties. So they set about trying to reinvigorate a naval mission called Operation Sophia that was suspended earlier because it got bogged down in migration politics. Now, Italy and Austria and some other states are saying they don't want ships picking up migrants trying to flee Libya because there's no solution among member states on where those migrants should go. So you've got this problem bogging down the decision to monitor the arms embargo. And although they had hoped they may be able to find a common position today at this meeting, that doesn't look likely at all.
Now, Terry, as we heard, a senior UN official is calling the arms embargo, or at least the enforcement of this embargo, a joke. Is anyone respecting the rules when it comes to Libya?
No, they're not. And if only it were a joke that didn't have so many lives at stake. You've got people who would rather jump on these flimsy rafts and try to sail across the Mediterranean at horrible odds than to stay on the ground in Libya. You've got the Islamic State regrouping in the chaos that is there in this fight between the UN-backed government and the warlord Khalifa Haftar. And so no one is respecting the arms embargo. No one is respecting the truce, the ceasefire that was called after that meeting in Berlin when there was so much optimism that things could really be moving forward. Turkey is arming the UN-backed government. Russia is arming the opposition, this warlord who is marching on Tripoli, trying to overtake it by military means. And what is even more crazy is that you've got EU member states lining up on the two sides. So this doesn't do much for the credibility of the European Union when it says it's trying to help find a solution.
Yeah, given what you just said, how much hope is there for any sort of broader solution here when you have even EU countries lining up on either side of this conflict?
Exactly. A month ago, there was so much optimism after this meeting in Berlin. Turkey and Russia had agreed to stop the flow of arms. They had agreed to a ceasefire on the ground, and that is key because, as I said, they are the major backers of the two opposing sides in Libya. But after that, we heard, and including in our report, that there was 150 violations. Skirmish is still on the ground. We know that there are arms still flowing into both sides. So it seems that despite all the big talk in Berlin, all the promises being made, nothing has changed, and the situation in Libya is really not a joke, but a fresh hell on the ground.
All right, DW correspondent Terry Schultz on the story for us. Thank you very much.